the Washington Commanders are not going to pick up the fifth-year option of Chase Young. Chase Young was, I believe, the second pick in the draft. He's entering his fourth year. He's tore his ACL. He went to Ohio State. He was, almost as highly graded coming out as Nick Bosa. Did tear his ACL, though, and Washington doesn't want him anymore. So the question is, should the 49ers trade for him? I have a wild idea. What do you think of trading Trey Lance for Chase Young? If you trade Trey Lance by himself, is Chase Young the best you could get back?
Yes. Right now, hell yeah. That's the best you can get, and it'd be worth it.
I would agree. And would both teams be interested?
Yeah, they definitely would consider it. They would definitely be like, this is intriguing. We have both first round coveted picks who are probably. I mean, Trey Lance probably not getting his fifth year pick off, but at least with the Commanders, we receive Lance, we could probably pick it up, and we have Jacoby Brissett to hold it for a year. Trey Lance is not too terribly far off from a Jacoby Brissett. And I know they talk about Sam Howell, whatever. It's like, yeah, you know what? You can replace Sam Howell with any type of quarterback like that. Brock Purdy, for example. Whatever.
Also, they got Martin Mayhew over there, who was in the organization when they drafted Trey.
Was he?
I think so.
That was a year.
Maybe he. Hold on. Let me check.
I thought he just left. But I digress. Right. But yeah, it's still someone to consider because again, it's a quarterback needy team. They pretty much said, look, we're kind of out on Chase Young. We want him to at least get a prove it year. So I think it's. Yeah, if you're the Niners, you definitely consider it. But then again, it's like you're going all in with Brock Purdy. But I mean, they kind of are going already all in with Brock Purdy now, right? So at that point, you really are committed to bringing in another quarterback by the draft, and maybe that makes sense for why you did all this due diligence, with the DTRs of the world, and, the Jake Hainers. So I guess that's why you do all that due diligence for us to make Trey Lance. I mean, Trey Lance is already low key expendable. It's pretty much just depending on the health situation of Purdy, and because Lance doesn't really have value. I mean, we've already said it. We both think he's no more worth than a fourth or fifth round pick. So if you get Chase Young, that's the best you can get.
I just think it'd be really funny if the Niners traded Trey Lance to Washington, and he ends up working out in Washington, and they get Chase Young, and his injuries end up ruining his career. And it's like, well, that's the 49ers. You traded a quarterback for D lineman with a bum knee. I mean, how many of those guys do you have on your team? How many injured D linemen are you going to bring on your team? First, it was D Ford. First, it was D. The Chiefs were like, man, we've been managing this guy for years. I don't think we can do it anymore. The Niners were like, bring him over here. We got a great training staff. That didn't work out. Then it was Javon Kinlaw, first round pick. They knew what they were getting into. They thought they had a plan. It didn't work. Chase Young would be a trifecta. I feel like if you're a D lineman or anyone and you got a messed up knee, you want to stay as far from Santa Clara as possible. It's not good. Something's going on there. They should check. I don't know. Is it the power plant next door? It's next to a power plant. Did you know that?
Washington?
Santa Clara. Their training facility. There's a big power plant right next door. Maybe it's the electromagnetic waves.
I'm not going there ever again.
Maybe it's just the vibes. It's just the vibes in Santa Clara. It's bad vibes.
It's gonna make me start balding if I start going there again. I would say the only part of Chase Young versus D Ford and those other two is like they were. First of all, D Ford, we had like a plethora of examples. Like this guy is literally a walking glass. Like you better cross your fingers. He does not, have half of that. And guess what? He had exactly that and more. And then Javon Kinlaw, of course, it's like, do you really want? It was a mix of he barely showed up his final year in college in a flash of literally just 4 games and the knee. So that was already kind of dumb. And then Chase Young would be like more like, okay. But ultimately, I think if you're the 49ers, you really want to trade Trey Lance, you probably should do it. I still think you should keep on to Trey Lance instead of acquiring Chase Young, just because, it's never D-line's a great. You need to reload a little bit more on your D-line, right? Especially on the edge, and Chase Young would help you. In theory, it would help you, but that injury scare is too much. And there's a reason why they're declining it. They must know something about his knee. They're scared about it. Maybe there's something about practice. Whereas the 49ers, it's still worth it for you to at least just play out this year for Lance, because the upside, even if you don't meet it, even if it's obvious you don't meet it, if people think that, it's worth it just figuring it out, because the main issue of this team every year is quarterback. No, we don't talk about defensive line. Sure, we talk about like they should have been where was defensive line like the quarter half of the last year, right? But still, ultimately, if it comes down to the quarterback, and it's worth more seeing what you have in Lance than giving away now and just to acquire another pass rusher.
Also, if you think Lance is a bust, what is Chase Young? I mean, Chase Young had 7.5 sacks his rookie year. Great. That was 2020. 2021, He had 1.5 sacks in 9 games. And last year he had no sacks in 3 games. So what is Chase Young? I mean, he's actually trending toward the Javon Kinlaw trajectory. So Niners, I don't know that this is actually the solution for the 49ers here. Chase Young, damaged goods. Yeah, because Ben Peterson will work that out. Bring him to Ben. Ben's got a plan for that knee, a proven plan.
You have to wonder if Chase Young isn't probably, as the more we talk, isn't worth almost the same as maybe a little bit more as Chase. I mean, as Trey Lance, maybe you can get maybe the Commanders can get a second or third at best.
Maybe
second is a little bit of stretch. The third I feel confident in, but it's pretty much kind of the same with Trey at that point.
Yeah.
So it's it's kind of an apples to apples Trey. Again, one plays, one's more valuable quarterback. Again, I know
not to the Niners. Not to the Niners. To the Niners, it goes defensive lineman, wide receiver, running back, tight end, long snapper, kicker, quarterback, head coach, quarterback, in that order.
All right, linebacker's a little higher. Come on.
That's true.